Shabbat Shalom, which is peace on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to our celebration of the Feast of Trumpets. We're going to go over these things so that we truly understand what this trumpet is. A lot of times, you know, when we deal with the things that the heathen has put out, they give their little fairy tales. We can all, without reading anything, we can go back through Christmas, through Easter. We can go back through all of those things, and we can give the little fairy tale explanation that they gave us. But when it comes down to understanding what's written in this book, we understand that the adversary does not want us to have true knowledge about these things and what they mean unto Yahweh. The trumpet is what calls the children of Israel. So we have to consider how important the trumpet is. I mean, you us who have kids, we understand the disrespectful nature involved when you call a kid or you tell a kid to do something, but they keep doing what it is they doing and gradually get around to doing what it was you asked them to do, or gradually get around to stopping when you said stop. That's what this trumpet is. This trumpet is Yahweh calling you. You know, do you finish what you're doing? You know, when I get around to it, I might go, keep Yahweh holy day. I might keep his Sabbath day. I might do such and such. Now, here in our earthly presence, we can see the disrespectful nature in that. When you say something to a child and the child operates in that manner. But understand, we're called the children of Israel. So when Yahweh gets ready to blow this trumpet and call the children of Israel, do you finish what you're doing? When it's convenient, Yahweh, I'll get there. Once I get through, dealing with my family. Once I get through dealing with my natural stuff that I want to deal with. Once I get through making this money. You ain't never going to get through making money. You ain't never going to have enough. I don't care how much you got. It's never going to be enough because you're always going to see something else you want. And guess what? That pile of money that you stacked up, it's going to keep going down because you're going to keep seeing something you want, then the money go down. Now you got to go back and go get some more money. So is Yahweh supposed to wait for all that? So I don't think we understand the significance of the trumpet. It is obvious that the nations are not teaching these things. The church is not teaching these things. So when you understand that when they heard, when Yahweh spoke, they heard thunder, they saw lightning, they heard a trumpet. So a lot of the significance of what is going on and what is happening today is lost to a lot of people. And we have to start giving these things the honor, the significance, the attention that it deserves. If we claim that we love Yahweh Elohim, things that are important to him have to be important to you. I mean, it's not that difficult. You in a relationship and something is important to you. If the other person that you're in a relationship with has no liking to the thing that is important to you, how long do you think it's going to be before it's a schism between y'all two? Yahweh has said that these things are the most important things to him. Yet we deal with a lot of them when we get around to it. We deal with a lot of them when it's convenient to us. And that is going to be a serious hindrance to us attaining our salvation. We're going to begin tonight in Numbers chapter 10. Numbers chapter 10, and we're going to read verses 1 through 10.
And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, Make you 2 trumpets of silver, of a whole piece shall you make them, that you may use them for the calling of the assembly, and for the journeying of the camps.
So, from the beginning, Yahweh is then setting, all right, when you hear this trumpet, start moving. So he's already getting it in Israel's head. When you get ready to call the children of Israel, blow the trumpet. Before we start any service, there's a shofar that is blown, which is the trumpet. When that shofar, which is a ram's horn, which is up under these candles over here, before we start anything, this is blown. But some of us get here so late, we don't never hear this. Anyway, so folk don't know what this sound like. But see, that's a problem. Because when Yahweh gets ready to send Yahshua, when the angels move, they move by the sound of the shofar. They move by the sound of the trumpet. You think Yahweh got a whole bunch of words for you? We're talking about the creator of heaven and earth and all that in them is. If you're not accustomed to hearing moving by the trumpet, when you're out and about and judgment start and you hear, are you going to be sitting around confused? What is that? What's that? Y'all hear that? Y'all island boy, don't they, when they warn you about them hurricanes, don't they have some kind of horn or something? Don't they blow something?
Yeah, they do down in Florida too.
Yeah. So that the islanders may be more accustomed to moving than us. At least they gonna think it's a hurricane. They trying to get out of Dodge or something. Rest of us ain't paying attention. Go ahead.
Numbers chapter 10 and verse 3. And when they shall blow with them, all the assembly shall assemble themselves to you at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And if they blow but with 1 trumpet, then the princes, which are the heads of the thousands of Israel, shall gather themselves unto you. When you blow an alarm, then the camps that lie on the east part shall go forward.
Right. So then there's a certain way that if it's just a regular sound, it's one thing. When you blow and make an alarm with that trumpet, then the children of Israel then get accustomed to how we are supposed to move according to this thing. Now, consider, Yahweh has based everything on this number of completion, which is 7. And then he has several holy days, the very important holy days in the 7th month. There's a reason for that. Go ahead.
Verse 6. When you blow an alarm the 2nd time, then the camps that lie on the south side shall take their journey. They shall blow an alarm for their journeys. But when the congregation is to be gathered together, you shall blow, but you shall not sound an alarm. And the sons of Aaron, the priests, shall blow with the trumpets, and they shall be to you for an ordinance forever throughout your generations. And if you go to war in your land against the enemy that oppress you, then you shall blow an alarm with the trumpets, and you shall be remembered before Yahweh your Elohim, and you shall be saved from your enemies.
You need to you need to remember that. If you go to war in your land against the enemy that oppresses you. Now, even if you look back at all of these old movies, you'll see when they have their little Christian cross and they flag and they off to go and take people land. You can go back and look at those old things, and they had a little bugle boy in there, and I thought that was the craziest dude ever. You know, give me a shotgun, Jack. Hey, you can keep that bugle. But I didn't understand what they were mimicking. Now, understand what this says. If you go to war in your land against the enemy that oppress you, that's not what they were doing. They were going to take other people's land. Do you understand? Yahweh doesn't give us the right to go and take other people's land, but the land that's ours, we get to fight for that. So while we all gathering up and getting ready to get us some weaponry, somebody better have a trumpet. Go ahead.
Also in the day of your gladness, and in your solemn days, and in the beginning of your months, you shall blow with the trumpets over your burnt offerings, and over the sacrifices of your peace offerings, that they may be to you for a memorial before your Elohim. I am Yahweh, your Elohim.
So it says, if you go to war in your land against the enemy that oppresses you, then you shall blow an alarm with the trumpet, and you shall be remembered before Yahweh, your Elohim, and you shall be saved from your enemies. So Yahweh, you hear the trumpet when Yahweh speaks, and then you have to use the trumpet to speak back to Yahweh. There's order with the way these things are set up. They're not just, set up haphazardly just because. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 23. Where is Lexi? Have Lael to give you the schedule of the holy days and what's going on each day, so I can make sure I read that before we get off air. Leviticus chapter 23, and let's start with verses 1 through 4.
And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, concerning the feast of Yahweh, which you shall proclaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts.
Holy convocations are gatherings that you do together. You shall proclaim these to be holy convocation. A convocation is a gathering. Even these are my feasts. Now we understand that there are people, and we have, lots of people who are part of this congregation that are spread out in different cities, different states, some out of the country. So they may not have the opportunity to gather with us physically, which is why we broadcast everything. But a holy convocation is a gathering. These are things that we're supposed to do. Not something that Yahweh gave us 10 suggestions. He gave us commandments. See, not walking in these things is why we are still, after being in this land all these years, is why people can still shoot us dead in the middle of the street and still get off. Why? Because we didn't do this. Yet we got every preacher on TV start talking about what we need to do to come together. They're preachers, but they're not talking about any of the stuff that's in this book. That's a problem. This is the reason why we're getting shot down. All our protection has been removed. And you don't get your protection back by doing more of the same thing that got it removed. But we want to look like the nations. We want to dress like them. We want to act like them. We want to walk and talk like them. But I guarantee you, when this judgment comes, we're not going to want to be nowhere near these nations. When that judgment comes, I bet these little boys find a way to pull their pants up. I bet you don't show your pretty drawers when y'all show again. At least he see your pretty drawers and kill you where you stand. See if it's still cool then. Go ahead, bro. Yep, that's what I'm talking about right there.
Verse 3.
Hold on. The holy day schedule, of course, tonight, Feast of Trumpets, which is, of course, a new moon. Atonement is September 29th at sundown, which is going to be 8 o'clock. At this point on, all the other things that we're going to do are going to be at 8 o'clock. The beginning of Feast of Tabernacles, October 4th at sundown, is going to be the first day of Tabernacles, which is a feast night, which is a Sabbath, and all males must make their appearance. That is the day that all males make their appearance, October 4th at sundown. All right. Then we have, being that it's Feast of Tabernacles, we're going to be here every day that week, starting October 4th. October 5th is at sundown is game night. October 6th at sundown is a sing-along. October 7th is open mic. October 8th, dwelling in booths. You moved it around, so y'all sabotaged me and gave me the wrong one. So what y'all saying is y'all sabotaged me and gave me the wrong one. That's what you say it plain. Don't. Okay, so what switched around? October 5th is the sing along. So that's Thursday, right? Okay. Okay, game night is the 6th. But then we'll have dwelling in booths October 8th at sundown. October 9th at sundown is movie night. The 10th is Ask the Priest, and October 11th at sundown is a feast night, which is also a Sabbath, the last day of Tabernacles. So on October 6th at sundown, that's a Sabbath. That next day, you're supposed to have off. So if we get together on October 6th at sundown, October 7th, you should try to have off from work. October 11th is at sundown. So if that 12th is a work day, that day is supposed to be off. And of course, today is a Sabbath. So tomorrow you're supposed to be off from work. That's the way those things go. And we understand the people who are, new to it, you don't get, it takes a minute to get accustomed to it. But there are things that Yahweh deals with us. There's a reason why he says the children of Israel. He deals with you deal with a child lenient at first. But when that child keep doing the same thing, it's time out for talking. After you've been in this word, we shouldn't be explaining these same things over and over and over. And Yahweh, that very same thing that Yahweh let slide on your year 1 and year 2, you might eat a little dirt on year 3 if you do that same thing. Because he expects you to grow just like you expect your kid to grow. If your kid's 6 years old, 7, 8, 9, and he's still peeing in the bed, we got a problem. Then that's something we got to deal with. You can't act like that's, keep talking to the kid like ain't nothing wrong with that. Oh, that baby. No, that ain't no baby. Go ahead, bro.
Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 3. 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest, and holy convocation. You shall do no work therein. It is the Shabbat of Yahweh in all your dwellings. These are the feasts of Yahweh, even holy convocations, which you shall proclaim in their seasons.
Right. So before he gives you anything about the holy days, he first gives you the Sabbath, and then gives you, which is the foundation for all those other days. Then he goes through all of the things about the holy days. So it is based on this number of completion, for the earth was created and finished within those 7 days. So then we have these 7 golden candlesticks. We got these 7 spirits, which Yahshua had all 7. So we're dealing with all of these things. And then we have now Yahweh has ordained a gathering in the beginning of the 7th month. You see, Yahweh is methodical in the things that he does. But then the adversary comes and tells us that these things are not important. So we don't even understand the importance of this 7th month. But you're going to see that it was important to Yahweh even before he had set any law. Go ahead. Jump to verse 23.
Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 23. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, In the 7th month, in the 1st day of the month, shall you have a Shabbat, a memorial of blowing of trumpets and holy convocation.
A holy convocation, which is a holy gathering that Yahweh has commanded for us to do. Go ahead.
You shall do no servile work therein.
Servile work is work that you get paid for. Go ahead.
But you shall offer an offering made by fire unto Yahweh. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying,
Now, You shall offer a fire, an offering made by fire unto Yahweh. This is why when it comes down to keeping the Sabbath and having the feast, this is why we can't show up with no cold cuts. I know that a lot of times you had people who had read the whole part, you shall not kindle a fire on the Sabbath. So, you know, they took that and figured what Yahweh was dealing with was no work. You had to burn the fire to get fuel. When you get down to what happened on in the temple on the Sabbath, the priests in there making offerings, the priests in there making hot bread. So when Yahshua and his disciples go and pick the corn, people got ticked off. They don't understand. You do know they priests, right? You do know all that cooking going on the Sabbath at the temple, right? But the adversary would do anything and use anything to get us off. That's why we can't bring no cold cuts in here when we having a feast. No, something got to be burnt by fire. See, there's a method to the madness. We're not just doing stuff because we think it's cool. No, we're doing stuff because this is what Yahweh has ordained for us to do. By the way, if you go by some of those places where the angel got a hold to the offering, or Yahweh got a hold to the offering, what did he do with it? Fire came down from heaven and whoosh, consumed it. Why do you think that is? Right. Go ahead.
Verse 27. Also on the 10th day of this 7th month there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be an holy convocation unto you, and you shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire unto Yahweh. And you shall do no work in that same day, for it is a day of atonement.
So atonement said no work, not no servile work, no work. Because if you are afflicting your soul, even though we don't like the work, we'll use work to make the day pass, especially when we're hungry. See, we'll take some busy work. I take some busy work. No. Sit down. Atone. Go ahead.
To make an atonement for you before Yahweh your Elohim. For whatsoever soul it be that shall not be afflicted in that same day, he shall be cut off from among his people. And whatsoever soul it be that does any work in that same day, the same soul will I destroy from among his people.
Right. And it is what the heathen authority wants to make sure that we don't keep these things. You won't find anything open on their Christmas or their Easter or stuff like that. You don't have to fight to get those days off. When it comes to these days, you have to fight for these days. Go ahead.
You shall do no manner of work. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings. It shall be unto you a Shabbat of rest, and you shall afflict your souls. In the 9th day of the month at even, from even unto even, shall you celebrate your Shabbat.
Right. Now, that is not a typo that you see right there. When it says the 9th day of the month at even. The 9th day of the month at even begins the 10th day. The day changes when the sun is down. That is why we will never begin any holy convocation or anything when we have a feast night. That's why we can never start before sundown. That begins the next day. And if you wait the next day at sundown, then that's the beginning of the next day. So this is the beginning of the day, not 12 o'clock midnight. Did you finish that up?
Yes.
Let's go to Genesis chapter 7. Genesis chapter 7, and let's start that at verse 4. And we're going to read that through chapter 8 and verse 4.
For yet 7 days, and I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And every living substance that I have made will I destroy from off the face of the earth.
Right, but you have televangelists on TV every Sunday saying God ain't mad at you. He ain't angry. Well, I think like destroying the whole world is kind of anger. It's kind of. I mean, I done got mad, and I done, you know, I might have tore up my living room. I ain't tear up like the whole house, you know. And I thought I was pretty ticked off. You know what I'm talking about? So for you to like tear up everything, yeah, he pissed off. But they want you to believe he's so nice and sweet. He don't get mad. You believe that if you want to. So destruction gonna catch you by surprise. Because you think Yahshua is showing up with a bunch of roses. That he finna come up and he finna love everybody. Oh, children. No. He coming back for destruction. And you get yourself back, get yourself ready now. You don't get ready for destruction on the day of destruction. If you ain't ready by then, it's done deal. Go ahead.
Verse 5, pardon me. And Noah did according unto all that Yahweh commanded him. And Noah was 600 years old when the flood of waters was upon the earth.
And Noah did according to all that Yahweh commanded him. So when Yahweh told Noah to move, he didn't say, you know what, look, when I finish, when I get through doing this stuff I'm doing, there ain't nothing that make you want to choke a little child more than when they give you that I'm finna to. Finna to gonna get you choked out. That's what finna to do. When Yahweh blow the trumpet, you move. When he gives you direction, you move. You're going to find that out in your spiritual life. That your whole life, you may have been doing this one thing. I know, because it done happened to me. And then you just get this idea out of the blue. You think it, but you don't think nothing. So you get this little idea, oh man, I've been doing that wrong all this time. Next time, I'm going to change that. But I'm already in the middle of it now. Right. And you're going to find your stuff strode all the way across the highway. Right. Trust me. I did that. When Yahweh gave me the inclination to change, I figured, yeah, I'm going to change next time. Right. Do it and see what happens to you. From the day he tell you and bring it to your mind, you better stop that mess that day. That minute. See, it's equivalent to saying, yeah, I'll do it when I get ready. When it's convenient for me, that's when I'm going to stop. Okay. Go ahead.
Verse 7. And Noah went in, and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives with him, into the ark because of the waters of the flood. Of clean beasts and of beasts that are not clean, and of fowls and of everything that creeps upon the earth, there went in two and two unto Noah into the ark, the male and the female, as Elohim had commanded Noah. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were upon the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. And the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. In the selfsame day entered Noah, and Shem, and Ham, and Japhet, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with them, into the ark. They and every beast after his kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing after that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and every fowl after his kind, every bird of every sort. And they went in unto Noah into the ark, 2 and 2 of all flesh, wherein is the breath of life. And they that went in male and female of all flesh, as Elohim had commanded him, and Yahweh shut him in. And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased, and bare up the ark, and it was lift up above the earth. And the waters prevailed, and were increased greatly upon the earth, and the ark went upon the face of the waters. And the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth, and all the high hills that were under the whole heaven were covered.
All the high hills were covered with water. And, you know, we get so accustomed to things being the way that they are that we just don't believe that anything like that could happen. Yet we see 2 hurricanes back to back have hit right in North America, right in this same area. Then you have earthquakes that have hit. Understand, Mexico is still connected to the same landmass, and we don't really consider now. Right before that, before all of this started, everybody was jumping up and down about the eclipse. And right after the eclipse it brought all the storms and everything with it. But everybody was so happy to see the eclipse. They didn't see the storm coming right behind it. But we don't see or believe that destruction can be on that level. And they're already talking about, man, they're hoping the other storms that's out don't come this way. But man has toyed with things so much that Yahweh gives man just enough room to hang himself. Because man is going to keep tinkering with everything until he destroy it. They know that this fracking that they use to get oil, they already know it causes earthquake. They still won't stop doing it. Why? Because they're getting paid. Then they make it so twisted that the people in the area fight to keep it going because they give them a little bit of change. Now they make all the big money from the fracking and the drilling for oil, but they give something to the people in the community. So it's those very people in the community who fight to keep the fracking going on, even though it's completely destroying everything in their area. Go ahead.
Genesis chapter 7 and verse 20. 15 cubits upward did the waters prevail, and the mountains were covered. And all flesh died that moved upon the earth, both of fowl and of cattle and of beast, and of every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth, and every man. All in whose nostrils was the breath of life, of all that was in the dry land, died. And every living substance was destroyed which was upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle and the creeping things and the fowl of the heaven, and they were destroyed from the earth. And Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark. And the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. And Elohim remembered Noah and every living thing and all the cattle that was with him in the ark. And Elohim made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters assuaged. The fountains also of the deep and the windows of heaven were stopped, and the rain from heaven was restrained. And the waters returned from off the earth continually. And after the end of the 150 days, the waters were abated. And the ark rested in the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, upon the mountains of Ararat.
So what had just happened? When was this? It was the 7th month, but it was also 15 days. So it happened in what? Tabernacles. So then atonement had taken place on what day? Yep. So this was Earth's atonement. But he ain't gave no law yet. This Genesis ain't no law. But the earth is his. He ain't got to explain that to you. Is it not lawful for me to do what I will with mine own? So atonement, then here come tabernacles. Now all of a sudden, we can see land now. But people want to tell you, well, see, y'all trying to keep that law. What law was in place? No one given no law. But the earth followed law, and the earth wasn't given it. Let's go to Acts chapter 18. See, all of these things are supposed to be done in their seasons. Now, you consider that what we're dealing with now, the autumnal equinox begins Friday. So as we're going into these seasons, we understand that Yahweh has his holy days set in the seasons for the agricultural growth and the reaping of those crops. But because we have a Walmart near us, we don't really care nothing about when crops grow. All we know is we see stuff in Walmart year round. Now you will notice something though. Like you'll go in Walmart and realize, you'll try to go get you some plums and be like, oh my God, these plums are nasty. Right, because it ain't time for them. You'll find out, you may find some stuff in Walmart, but it ain't supposed to be there. Then you'll find when it's actually the season for those fruit to be ripe, all of a sudden then you go in there and they good. So you're like, well, where these little nasty ones come from? Yeah, they doing their own thing. See, the adversary has to try to circumvent what Yahweh has going on. He circumvented these holy days. He gave us man's holidays. He circumvented the Sabbath. Gave us the Sunday. So he's been all about what he wants to be about. Since he wants to exalt his throne in heaven, he told all us we were going to heaven too. Acts chapter 18, and let's read verses 18 through 21.
Verse 18. And Saul after this tarried there yet a good while, and then took his leave of the brethren, and sailed thence into Syria. And with him Priscilla and Aquila, having shorn his head in Cenchrea, for he had a vow.
Right. A lot of times, when especially when brothers were had a vow, and sisters when they had a vow, they would not cut their head. This is where the locks really come from. The not cutting any hair, letting that hair grow the entire time that they are under that vow, and then at the point where that vow is over, they then cut that hair. So when you see a brother shaving, then you know that he has just accomplished a vow. So even if the brothers have like long dreads and things like that, those things, when you get down to coming into the sanctuary, those things then have to be covered up. But most of the times those brothers, if they had their dreads, they would come no more than shoulder length. If it's longer, anytime coming longer than behind their ear and stuff like that, then they have to cover that up, especially in the sanctuary. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 19. And he came to Ephesus and left them there, but he himself entered into the synagogue and reasoned with the Yehudis. When they desired him to tarry longer time with them, he consented not.
Nah, he said, look, I can't stay. Now, he's still doing Yahweh's work. Okay? See, a lot of people say, well, I'm doing Yahweh's work, so it's okay for me to, do whatever I got to do. He said, look, I know I'm doing Yahweh's work, but look here. I got somewhere I need to be. Go ahead.
But bade them farewell, saying, I must by all means keep this feast that comes in Jerusalem, but I'll return again unto you, if Elohim will.
If Elohim will. See, if things work out, if Yahweh direct me so, I'll be back. That's my intention, but I must by all means go up to keep this feast. But he's already doing Yahweh's work. See, a lot of times we will say, okay, well, I'm doing Yahweh's work, so it's okay if I just hang around and keep it. No, that ain't okay. I'm going to drop everything I got going on, and I'm getting back to go keep this feast. Go ahead.
And he sailed from Ephesus.
All right, let's go to Zechariah chapter 14. And the little travels we have is a joke compared to the stuff that they had to go through. We have swift beasts. They got 300 horsepower. They had slow beasts. It was 1 horsepower. Because it was literally 1 horse. And if you got a donkey, you got 0.4 horse. You don't even have a whole horse. You know how long it take for a donkey? And I don't care how much you hit him, he ain't speeding up. You can hit him all day you want to. You just hit him. You just gonna have 1 strong arm. That's it. Because he's not gonna speed up. Those were long, ugly, grueling trips. But he said, I must by all means. I got to get there. Zechariah 14, and let's start that at verse 16.
And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, Yahweh of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
So he's going to make the whole world come up. They're going to have to send all their delegates, the people that they think are important. Like now you have all the people of the nation. They go to the United Nations conference. They go to the little summits. And all the people that they think important gonna have to come up and keep the Feast of Tabernacles. You know, right when they seen the water on the earth before there was law. All of them gonna have to come and keep the Feast of Tabernacles. The very thing that they're not keeping now. But see, there's a problem if Yahweh got to make you keep it. See, there's a real problem there. See, that's not something that Yahweh should have to make us do. See, that's something that we should want to do automatically out of our love for Yahweh. And we act like it's so difficult to understand. We've been in relationships. If you got to make somebody speak to you in the morning, they say something ain't right. Good morning. You don't see nobody? Now, if you got to do that every morning, now I understand people get busy from time to time, you know. But if you got to do that every morning, there's something ain't right in that relationship. And if Yahweh got to knock the tire off your car every Friday so you'll come keep something ain't right. Something ain't right with that relationship. He gonna cut ties in that relationship. Something ain't right. Go ahead.
Verse 17. And it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, Yahweh of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain.
So, this is going to take care of the business. So, all them that decide they're not going to come up to keep the feast, and understand, these are appearances. These are times when you make an appearance. And when you make an appearance, all the males make an appearance, and you cannot come empty. You must show up with an offering. So this is how Yahweh is making sure that Israel is constantly taken care of. Understand, the priests were taken care of by the tithe of the people. But now all the people are going to be taken care of by the tithe of the rest of the nations. Consider what goes on in the Middle East, because they have so much oil over there. Man, they got kids over there they got 30 brothers and sisters, and number 30 got a Ferrari. That's how much money they got over there. They can come over here and go to school for free. Stuff that we be paying 20 years later, we still paying student loan. That's how much money they have over there. They don't wash their windows. They don't cut their grass. They don't do any of that. Foreigners do all of that. But then when you read this book, Yahweh said, the sons of the aliens shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers. You're not going to do no more work. But you think you're just going to slide into that? No, you're not going to slide into that. You're going to earn that. But Yahweh said, you make it through this one, you don't work your last day. You ain't working no more. Your heaviest work gonna be, oh, no, move that to the left. You're like, whoa, I am so tired. Good God. Man, I had to tell them where to move this stuff. I need to take a nap. Right. That's gonna be it. Go ahead.
Verse 18. And if the family of Egypt go not up, and come not, that have no rain, there shall be the plague, wherewith Yahweh will smite the heathen that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
So, no rain, then they're going to be hit with a plague if they don't come. Because, understand, it says that you're going to be kings and priests on the earth. Well, this is how the nations are going to have to come up and serve you. And if they don't come and serve you when Yahweh say, then they're going to be punished. But if you're going to eventually be in that situation that you're going to reap all those benefits, how are you going to act that way coming into it? But then you get to get all of this from the nations. No. It's going to have to be a priority for you now, for you to be able to reap the benefits later on. Go ahead.
Verse 19. This shall be the punishment of Egypt, and the punishment of all nations that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
All right, let's go to our Exodus chapter 34. Exodus chapter 34, and let's read verses 21 through 24.
6 days you shall work, but on the seventh day you shall rest. In airing time and in harvest you shall rest. And you shall observe the feast of weeks, of the first fruits of wheat harvest, and the feast of ingathering at the year's end.
So when we talk about ingathering, we're talking about tabernacles. So you're talking about these appearances that all males must make before Yahweh, our Elohim. We can read in Job, and we see that even the angels had their time to make an appearance. We find an appearance in Job chapter 1 in the beginning, and we find another appearance in Job chapter 2 in the beginning. So we find both of these things, these appearances happening, and these are angels. And it says, and Lucifer came also. Satan came as well. So even though he has all of these things at the same time, he makes his appearance. So while he has completely tricked everybody in the earth, telling them that they don't need to keep any law, what do you think he was doing when he made the appearance? He was keeping law. You can't get no more hypocritical than that. Telling you not to show up, and he already there. Telling on you. You know Sock ain't coming, right? Yeah, but when you the one that told him not to come? Well, yeah, but what they got to do with anything? He still didn't come. So at the end of the day, you can't go to court and tell people how you got tricked into doing evil. At the end of the day, they're going to ask you a question. Did you do the evil or not? Well, yeah, I did. All right. There it is. Ain't no excuses for why you did it. Well, I didn't understand the law. They'll tell you in the courtroom right now, today. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. Go in there and tell them folk you didn't understand their law. Get a speeding ticket and go and tell the judge, but I didn't know what the speed limit was. Well, you gonna know next time. $500. There you go. Pay that. Next time you're gonna be looking for speed limits, you ain't even in the car. You gonna know after you pay that fine. They don't care. Ignorance of the law is no excuse, especially when you have this book in front of you. Especially when this book is being read out of every Sabbath and every Bible study. ignorance of the law is no excuse. According to what's written in here, every 7 years the children of Israel would read out of the law. We're talking about in its entirety. So you're talking about kids hearing this over and over and over and over again. So by the time that they're grown, Yahweh is saying, all right, you done heard enough for you to be held accountable. Did you finish that, brother?
Verse 23. 3 times in the year shall all your men children appear before Yahweh your Elohim, the El of Israel. For I will cast out the nations before you, and enlarge your borders. Neither shall any man desire your land, when you shall go up to appear before Yahweh your Elohim 3 times in the year.
So Yahweh has even made it to where you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta get to the place where you need to be to make your appearance. And Yahweh says, look, I'm gonna make it so people ain't gonna even want your stuff. When you leave your stuff, come make your appearance. Yahweh said they're not even gonna want your stuff. I mean, how much more convenient does he have to make his feast days, his holy days, his appearances? How much more convenient does he have to make? Let's go to Leviticus chapter 25. Started at verse 1.
Leviticus chapter 25 and verse 1. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe in Mount Sinai, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When you come into the land which I give you, then shall the land keep a Shabbat unto Yahweh.
Right. And you understand why the earth is rebelling against these people. The earth does not get its opportunity to rest under the heathen rulership. The earth is getting worked to the fullness. What is their reply? They just want to have some wars to kill off a certain amount of people, because they know that a certain amount of people are going to use up the resources. So their reply, hey, every so often, they orchestrate a war. They orchestrate some kind of mass event that kills a lot of people. This is how they're trying to keep from using up all the resources. And do understand that the majority of the people that they believe need to die, they all look like you. Go ahead.
6 years you shall sow your field, and 6 years you shall prune your vineyard, and gather in the fruit thereof. But in the 7th year shall be a Shabbat of rest unto the land, a Shabbat for Yahweh. You shall neither sow your field, nor prune your vineyard. That which grows of its own accord of your harvest you shall not reap, neither gather the grapes of your vine undressed, for it is a year of rest unto the land.
Now consider what Yahweh did when he gave the manna. He gave double the amount of manna leading into the Sabbath, so that you wouldn't go out looking for it on the Sabbath. What did we do? Go out looking for it on the Sabbath? And we had double the amount the day before. So it's not about what we have. We're still out looking for more possibilities. But it ain't like they were hungry. This is how Yahweh then gets to the point where just don't come outside your houses on the Sabbath day. That was never his intention. But Yahweh was pushed to that. Because here it is, we have a double amount. But that greed still sends us out, going to look for manna on the day that we're supposed to be resting. And we have to consider, how much thought process do we put into the things that pertain unto Yahweh? When it's some vanity, We got our outfit pressed out 4 hours before the shindig. We done tried on different outfits. We done put it with different shoes, holding up the outfit in the mirror, trying to see what you gonna look like if you put that particular outfit on. Then come to the Sabbath and forget to zip up our pants. Read, man.
Verse 6. And the Sabbath of the land shall be meat for you, and for your servant, and for your maid, and for your hired servant, and for your stranger that sojourns with you, and for your cattle, and for the beasts that are in your land, shall all the increase thereof be meat.
Mm-hmm.
And you shall number 7 Shabbat of years unto you.
Right. So we already have 7 Sabbaths of weeks, which we deal with as our Pentecost, which is 50 days. And there's an appearance there. But then you have this thing where you got 7 Sabbaths of years. Now, you know, we have all of these strange doctrines that are floating around Israel. You have all of these people that keep a moving Sabbath. They keep a Sabbath by the moon. It's just nice ways for the adversary to get you off what you're supposed to be on. But I keep telling the moon brothers how you figure this Sabbath of years into your moon worship. And even into that so-called keeping the Sabbath by the moon, our keeping of Pentecost that we can read over here in Leviticus 23, 7 Sabbaths equal 49 days. Try to get 49 days out of that little moving Sabbath that they have. And you're going to have to ignore some whole days. That means you're just going to have some days that ain't days. It's a 24-hour period, but it ain't no day. Now, how that work out? How you just have a day that ain't no day? What you do on a day that ain't a day? And if you do something, do it count? Since it wasn't really a day? What you do with that? It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. But because people want to follow this so-called Enoch calendar and deal with that, this mathematical equation, all it is the adversary puts out many different ways to get you off that path. And at the end of the day, it's whichever one you fall for, do know that once you fall, if you fall at 7:49, at 7:50, he's standing in front of Yahweh. Did you see what's up, GT? He can't wait to tell on you. He can't wait to tell on you. And he don't want to give you the whole idea. If I was you, this would I do. But he's not going to do it. He's just going to talk you into doing it. So at the end of the day, he can honestly go before Yahweh and say, I didn't make him do it. I just gave him suggestions. I didn't make him touch that woman, but I told him that woman sure is fine. But I didn't make him touch her. See, that's how the adversary do for you. Go ahead.
Verse 8. And you shall number 7 Shabbats of years unto you, 7 times 7 years. And the space of 7 Shabbats of years shall be unto you 49 years.
Shall be unto you 49 years. The same way we add up those 49 days, and the next day is the 50th day. Now we have this 50th year. Go ahead.
Then shall you cause the trumpet of the Jubilee to sound on the 10th day of the 7th month.
What?
In the Day of Atonement.
Now understand something. So now we got something seriously happening. Now you have those people who are so hell bent on going away from anything that is law, that they don't see the righteousness or salvation in it. Verse 10, and you shall hallow the 50th year and proclaim liberty throughout the land unto all the inhabitants thereof. It shall be a jubilee unto you. You shall return every man unto his possession, and you shall return every man unto his family. This is when you get to go home. Do understand, it is the Jubilee trumpet that the Messiah is going to blow. That is what causes us to have to leave. This is what causes us to have to go back into our land. These are the things that starts making all of these people start fleeing and going back. They don't know why they're going. But understand that Israel moved by the trumpet. We're waiting on Yahshua to blow that trumpet. Go ahead.
In the day of atonement shall you make the trumpet sound throughout all your land. And you shall hallow the 50th year, and proclaim liberty throughout all the land unto all the inhabitants thereof. It shall be a jubilee unto you, and you shall return every man unto his possession, and you shall return every man unto his family. A jubilee shall that 50th year be unto you. You shall not sow, neither reap that which grows of itself in it, nor gather the grapes in it of your vine undressed. For it is the jubilee, it shall be holy unto you. You shall eat the increase thereof out of the field. In the year of this jubilee, you shall return every man unto his possession.
Now, you keep hearing the same thing. Everybody's supposed to go home. This ain't your land. It keeps saying the same thing. Return every man unto his possession. Return every man unto his possession. The problem is, the last place we came from wasn't our home. So we got a little bit more work to do than everybody else. A lot of these people, they know where they come from. They going back. To us, they may look the same. All them people, they know exactly where they come from. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 15. First Corinthians chapter 15. And let's start that at verse 50.
Verse 50. Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of Elohim, neither does corruption inherit incorruption.
Now I say this, flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of Elohim. Now you got all of these people going around telling you about what tribe they in. They got this little convoluted 12 tribes chart. Got everybody believing all of these things. Flesh and blood is not going to inherit this kingdom. If you're not Israel in the spirit, trying to tell us what your lineage is null and void. As it is written, for he is not a Jew, which is one outwardly, but he is a Jew, which is one whose circumcision is of the heart. And when you got a circumcised heart, it's just certain things that you just ain't gonna do. When you got a circumcised heart, there's certain things that people can't talk you out of doing. Understand, as Saul went from place to place, they loved him. But he said, no, I got somewhere to be. I gotta go. I love y'all too, but I gotta go. So we have to understand the importance of that trumpet. That trumpet is going to bring forth all the judgment that the earth is going to undergo. The trumpet is what's going to set all of that. The angels don't start pouring out their vial until a trumpet blow. Every time a trumpet blow, the angel come and pour out a vial of wrath. All the judgment happens by that trumpet. And you have too many Hebrews that do not understand the importance of trumpets. Go ahead, brother.
Behold, I show you a mystery. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump.
At the last trump. Go ahead.
For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible.
So the dead people come out of their graves at the sound of the trumpet. Yeah, we got live people that won't move at the sound of the trumpet. But the dead got sent. Oh, man, didn't you hear that? Man, we got to crawl out of the ground, Jack. We got to go. So the dead people hear the trumpet, but live don't? There's something wrong with that. There's something wrong with that. Hear your Elohim, Israel. So we have to understand these things. Now, of course, we know that we were given that fairy tale that everybody going to heaven. So, quite frankly, this verse don't make no sense on Sunday morning. Well, how these dead people waking up and they coming out of the ground if they was already in heaven? That's a hard trick to pull off right there. That's a hard trick to pull off on Sunday morning. How you going to explain coming out of the ground and you already in heaven? See, we have to make some decisions on whether or not we're going to have a renewed mind. That means we got to throw away some of that stuff that we thought we already knew, and relearn it. You know, it is amazing. You know, sometimes when you're reading and you think you know what's there, you'll already put it in that spot. Like sometimes you'll see the first 3 letters of a word, and it might say, you know, there. All you see is TH, and you say the. Hey man, that keep reading, man. You stop looking down. Read the rest of the word. You do that same thing sometimes when you're reading and you done already been taught some foolishness. You'll come right up in here and you'll read. Like we'll go through the thing and we'll read the nativity of Christ, and it'll say the wise men, and we always laugh and we ask that question, how many wise men? And half the room said 3. No way in that book did it say there were 3 wise men. That was that little cartoon you used to watch when you were little, and it gave you a black one, a white one, and a Chinese one, right? So you come with your cartoon, and although we reading it, that cartoon's still dangling in your head. And here it is, we read it, and the cartoon is still in your brain. And if you don't force it out of there, it's still going to be in there. Every time we read about the wise men, you're going to see them same people they showed you on the cartoon. The white one, the black one, and the Chinese one. And here's the problem. Ain't none of them people looking for no king. What's some Chinese people at in this book looking for a king? They're not looking for no king. Israel was the only one looking for a king. But you still see that image. And the same things happen, and that's just one of them. There's hundreds of them that the adversary has given us. And you'll read this book and you'll still see the false part, even though we're reading out of it. So you have to force yourself to go away from those wise fables and really and truly learn the things that Yahweh has put forth. And the first step in doing that is understanding that the things that are important unto him, those things must be important unto you as well. Once again, Atonement is going to be September 29th at sundown. We will be breaking the fast here. So understand Atonement is a 24-hour fast. No food or water. You hydrate yourself before you go on the fast. We do not eat anything. Now, like the book says, don't, disfigure your face so you appear to fast unto men, things of that nature. You ain't got to walk around with crust all in your mouth and stuff like that. You can wipe your face, but, don't try to, brush your teeth and you try to eat the toothpaste. I ain't worried about brushing my teeth or none of that on the 24-hour fast, because you know what you're doing. This is a 24-hour fast. You're not supposed to eat or drink anything. This is the atonement, that same atonement that the earth had to go through. See, it's supposed to be you denying yourself. This is what Yahweh, and it is basically a memorial of us punishing ourselves, because at the end of the day, Yahweh didn't ask us to sacrifice ourselves. And the amazing thing about fasting one day, you find that in one day your stomach shrink. You swear you're going to eat. You swear after 24 hours, you swear you're going to, oh, you say, oh, I can't wait. I'm going to tear me some food. Oh, I'm going to tear it up. You get there and get 2 bites. So what happened to that dude? You can eat all the stuff you thought. And if one day do that, imagine what more than one day will do. Imagine what different fasts at different times will do. We also, October 4th at sundown is the first day of Tabernacles. That is a feast. It is a Sabbath. That next day you are supposed to have off. And of course, we have October 11th at the end of Tabernacles is also a feast. So the 12th you should not be working. Yah's will post this so that everybody will understand what days they need to be present. October 4th is appearance. All males must make an appearance. So October 4th at sundown is a day that if you can make it, you definitely need to make that day. That's all that we're going to do for tonight. Enjoy your feast. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.